The air was sharp that evening. A thin fog crept along Willow Street, curling around the old lampposts and swallowing the glow of the fading sun. People hurried past, shoulders hunched against the chill, their faces hidden behind scarves and the blue light of their phones. No one looked up. No one noticed. At the corner beside a rusted bench stood an old woman. Her name, unknown to most, and was Evelyn Harper. Her coat hung loose from her frail shoulders, the color faded from years of wear. Her hair, once neat and silver, now tangled in wisps around her face. Her eyes, pale, trembling, darted from one passerby to another, searching for something, someone, some place she could no longer recall. She clutched a torn handbag against her chest. Inside were scraps of paper, faded photographs, and an address written long ago. Willow House, 11 Willow Street. She whispered it to herself over and over, as though repetition might summon the memory back into existence. But there was no Willow House here. Not anymore. The old shelter had been torn down years ago to build an apartment block. Evelyn didn't know that. To her, time had stood still somewhere between memory and loss. People saw her but didn't see her. A mother pulled her child closer as she passed. A man in a suit muttered, "Crazy old bat," without slowing his stride. A group of teens laughed, tossing glances her way like stones. Evelyn stood still. Her legs trembled. The world moved around her, fast, indifferent, merciless. And for a long moment, it seemed she might crumble right there on the cold pavement. Another forgotten face in a city that had no space for the slow or the lost. And then, he came. Jamal Harris, 17. Tall, thin, wearing a hoodie 2 sizes too big and sneakers whose soles had almost given up. He had just finished his shift washing dishes at Benny's Diner, a block away. His backpack was heavy with textbooks and dreams he wasn't sure he could afford. He was tired, hungry, and on his way home when he saw her. At first, he almost walked past like everyone else. He'd learned over the years that stopping could mean trouble. "Mind your business," his mom always said. But something about her, the way she looked at the world, frightened but still hopeful, made him stop. He hesitated, then took a step closer. "Ma'am," he said softly. "You okay?" The woman turned, startled. Her eyes met his, and for a second they softened. I'm trying to get home," she stammered. "Willow House, do you know it?" Jamal looked around. "Willow House?" He shook his head. "Don't think so. You live there?" She frowned, thinking. I think so. I was at the park. Then I started walking. And then, she trailed off, lost in the fog of confusion. Jamal noticed her hands trembling. She looked cold. Without thinking, he pulled his gloves off and offered them. "Here," he said. "You need these." Her lips quivered into a faint smile. "You're very kind. Come on," Jamal said. "Let's get you somewhere warm. My boss won't mind if we sit inside for a bit." And just like that, the forgotten woman had been seen. Inside Benny's Diner, the air smelled of coffee and fried onions. The warmth hit Evelyn's face and she sighed softly, as if she'd been holding her breath all day. Jamal guided her to a booth near the window. "Sit tight," he said. "I'll get you something hot." He poured her a cup of coffee, added sugar, and brought her a bowl of soup. She looked at it like it was a feast. "Thank you," she whispered. "I can't remember the last time someone cared." He sat across from her. "What about your family? Anyone I can call?" She stirred the soup, thinking hard. "I had a daughter once," she said finally. "Charlotte. She lives somewhere near the ocean, I think. But she doesn't want to see me. I was too busy when she was young, too cold, too proud." Jamal stayed quiet. He didn't want to interrupt the fragile way her words fell. "I had everything," she said, her eyes drifting to the window. "A house, a company, friends who smiled only when the champagne flowed. But I lost myself somewhere in all of that. So one day I walked away, left it behind. I wanted to see what the world looked like when it didn't know my name." Jamal blinked. He wasn't sure what to say. "You walked away from all that?" She nodded slowly. "Money shows you faces, not hearts. I wanted to see hearts again." For a long moment, neither spoke. The diner hummed softly, plates clattering, the bell ringing as someone came and went. Outside, the city kept rushing, but inside, time slowed for them both. Later that night, when Benny came out from the kitchen and saw them, his brows furrowed. "Jamal, who's that?" "She was lost," Jamal said quickly. "Just helping her warm up a bit." Benny sighed. You got a good heart, kid. But we close in 10. Evelyn tried to stand. I'll go, she said softly. No, Jamal said. You're not sleeping on the street. He thought fast. You can stay in the shelter near Maple Avenue. I'll walk you there. Benny looked at him, then nodded. Fine, take her. Be careful. They stepped back into the cold. The street was quieter now, the fog thicker. Evelyn leaned on his arm as they walked. You remind me of my grandson, she said. He was gentle too, always helping others. Jamal smiled faintly. I just do what I can. You'll go far, she whispered. Kindness. It always finds its way back. He didn't know that those words would soon define the rest of his life. When they reached the shelter, Jamal spoke to the receptionist, helped fill out a temporary form, and stayed until Evelyn had a bed. As he turned to leave, she caught his hand. What's your name, dear? Jamal, he said. Jamal, she repeated softly as if tasting it. You've given me more than you know. He smiled. Take care, Miss Evelyn. He walked away, never expecting to see her again, but fate. It never forgets kindness. A week later, Jamal was working another shift at Benny's when a man in a black suit walked in. He looked out of place, too polished for the worn diner. Are you Jamal Harris? The man asked. Jamal froze. Yeah. Why? The man handed him an envelope. Mrs. Evelyn Harper asked me to deliver this. He frowned. Wait, Evelyn? The lady from Willow Street. The man smiled faintly. Yes, sir. She asked that you open it when you're alone. Jamal's heart raced. He wiped his hands on his apron, went to the back alley, and tore it open. Inside was a handwritten letter and a check. The letter read, Dear Jamal, you reminded me what kindness feels like. Something I thought the world had forgotten. I was Evelyn Harper, founder of Harper Holdings. I left that world behind years ago to see if humanity still existed without wealth. I found it in you. Use this gift not as charity, but as a seed for something good. Never let the world harden your heart. One with love, Evelyn. The check was for $250,000. Jamal's knees went weak. He stared at it stunned. He ran back inside. Benny, you won't believe this. Benny looked at the paper, then at him. Kid, you just helped a billionaire. But Jamal didn't smile. His eyes were wet. I didn't help her for this. I just didn't want her to be alone. Benny nodded. That's exactly why she chose you. Months passed. Jamal used the money to start a youth center, a small place where kids from broken homes could study, eat, and feel seen. He called it Willow House. In the lobby, framed on the wall, was Evelyn's letter, untouched, exactly as it was. And every evening when the sun dipped behind the skyline, Jamal would step outside, look up at the fading streetlights, and whisper, Thank you, Miss Evelyn. Because he knew, somewhere, somehow, she was watching. 2 years later, a lawyer arrived at Willow House. He carried another envelope. Inside was a document. Evelyn Harper had passed away peacefully in her sleep and left her entire remaining estate, over $18 million, in Jamal's name. The condition: he must continue to use it to help others, to see the unseen, to hear the unheard, to remember the forgotten. Jamal wept as he read the final line of her letter. The world ignored me when I was lost, but one hand reached out, and that changed everything. Never stop being that hand. Years later, Willow House grew into a foundation, schools, shelters, scholarships, all born from one moment of kindness on a foggy street. Journalists often asked Jamal what inspired him. He always smiled and said the same thing. It wasn't about money. It was about seeing someone the world had stopped seeing. And sometimes, late at night when he walked down Willow Street, he could almost feel her presence beside him. The faint smell of old perfume, the soft echo of her voice whispering, kindness always finds its way back. And in that quiet street, where the city once ignored a lost old woman, a single streetlight flickered. Like a gentle nod from heaven,